And Neeraj was very clear right from the very first day when he was asked to whether he wants to direct the film or not. So he was like, let me talk to him. Let me see if there is a story or not. And he spent some 3-4 days with the man. And yeah, there is a story to tell, and it's a very, very important thing that we're punctuating in the film. It's not that we are over-dramatizing any situation, or right from his birth till the 2011 when we won the World Cup, everything that has happened, which is important, is there in the film.
I think there was only one thing that was going for me, and that was that I was just aware. And I was told that, choose one thing, or probably they gave me that thing to be very good at. And they asked me, my parents and everybody who loved me, they said that you need to be an engineer because, being a doctor was, I have 4 sisters. So they were asked to be doctors. I was asked to be an engineer. And probably after that, we were, if we were good at what we were doing, we were expected to sit for civil services. And that was the thing. So yeah, I was doing it, but thankfully, I was also aware of the process itself. I knew that, okay, there is something missing. I was told that, okay, by the way, I started off as being this very shy and introvert kid. Because I was the youngest in my family, very pampered. I didn't know how to deal with people when I used to step out. So any sort of acknowledgement meant a lot. Also coming from a very humble background, money was always a differentiator in my life. So the money and any sort of acknowledgement were 2 big differentiators. And I was told that if you get these 2, you will be successful, and then everything will be all right. But while I was doing it, and I cleared all these engineering entrance exams, and I was studying, and I was just aware of what was happening. And I felt that, okay, this is not something, it's not giving me that high, because it's boring. And that was the starting point. And well, I started off, I'll be extremely honest, because after clearing such tough engineering entrance exams, when I went to that college, I found that there were no girls. And I was like, I felt, yeah, absolutely. I felt cheated. I was like, okay, this is not what it is. Because they told me that work hard, be an engineer, and marry a nice girl, and that's what will happen. But that didn't seem to be a probability, because there were no girls in my college. Somebody told me that, why don't you join dance school? And I went there. But something very, very, very interesting happened. And
there's clearly a girl clapping there.
While I was performing for the first time on stage, I recognized this want of me that I really want to be, or probably I have been wanting to be understood. And that was the starting point. Shamak asked me to do theater. It was a wonderful way of resonating with everybody, because I was like, okay, don't judge me, because I'm not me on stage. I was hiding behind all these fascinating characters and possibly saying the same things that I wanted to say. And I could see these strangers getting affected by what I was saying, what I was doing, and it was magical. So just being aware of the process and just telling myself that if I can be in top 1% in something which I probably don't like, now that I've identified something that I do like, and I don't care what people think of me, it doesn't feel like hard work. I want to take risks. There's nothing else but to perseverance is the thing, because that is the only thing that I want to do. So all these things were at place, and identifying that, I was like, okay, this is something I like. I can very well be in top 1% of this. And just being clear about my awareness.
Well, it's subjective. What we are trying to do in the film is that every important event that has happened is there, and I try to understand his psychology and stay true with the emotions. It's on you to decide whether I was right or wrong. But so it's there.
It is there.
And we are not saying, oh, this is how you should think at this point of time. You just have to take your own decision.
उसके बाद when you actually...
There are two things to it. Number one was, how did I convince myself into dropping out of a very prestigious engineering college into doing something which is very, very dicey? And number two, what I found while doing it. So number one was, like I said, that if I could be in top 1% in something that I don't like, I can very well be in top 1%, which I absolutely like. And I promised myself a fancy house and a fancy car in Bandra, because I got to know that Shah Rukh stays in Bandra. So I was like, okay, this is what you'll get, and drop out. And just 6 to 8 months away from getting myself a degree, I dropped out. Because I thought that it will be a better state to be in if I don't have a plan B. Because I won't be thinking that if nothing happens, I'll go back to this. I perform better when I don't know that there is plan B. So that was one thing. And number two, what I realized was something which I think is not specific to me, but is specific to almost everybody. And there's this question mark every time you're doing something, because you expect that that certain thing would give you something, but it is not actually that. We have this tendency to overestimate the hedonic impact that has to with anything that has to do with future. We think that, okay, I'll be successful, people will recognize me, I'll be rich, and everything will be sorted. Or if I am a failure, I don't know what will happen. But when that event happens, it is not the same. And there are lots of experiments that have been done on this. And Dan Gilbert talks about it, where there is a group of, there are two groups. One group is these amazing, promising CEOs of the world, and they lose their limb. And there's another group when these people are actually thinking about the next meal, and they win a lottery, $1 million lottery. And what happens is there's a big spike in their mental state after that event. But after a few weeks, and let me say, I'm not exaggerating, it's not about after a few years, after a few months, it's about after a few weeks. Group A, they still don't have their limbs. And group B still have money. But that graph comes back to the original state. So we have this tendency to think that something would happen after a certain event. And I think that's a lie. That doesn't happen. But thankfully, I was doing something that I absolutely like. I give this example to everybody who asks me this. I was told to be an engineer. I enjoyed reading anything about physics or mathematics. But I was told that, okay, 4 to 5:30 is the time when you can go out and play. And I would still wait for 4 p.m. to happen. I would go out, and 4 to 5:30 would happen in 5 minutes. And I was like, okay, time is so subjective. And I'm so sure that last 11 years I've been acting, I feel like I've been living that 4 to 5:30 life. I don't know that I'm working hard. From somebody else's point of view, probably I am, but I don't know that I'm working hard. I don't think that I take risks. Like I'll give you an example that when you play a video game and you are sorted with the first level, what do? You are intrigued that what would happen in the second level, and that's the only way to go. So I try and choose scripts in which the characters I don't completely understand. And this is precisely the reason why I do it, because I don't know. So I think this thing, everybody should understand, that it is okay not to know. It is okay to admit that I don't know. And it is okay to like unpredictability. Because when once in 10 times, or probably 100 times, when you stumble upon something which is new, fresh, that is so addictive that you don't care about the 99 times that you fail.
I used to get affected, I won't lie. But now it doesn't affect me that much. I don't know how I've gotten immune to it. But I've realized that if they look at me and they smile, they feel happy, and I get to know about it, I'll be slightly more happier than what I am already. But people have a tendency that they will tell you that either if the film is not like my Byomkesh, I work the same in that film too.
You work very hard there, yeah.
True,
yeah.
but then people say, so after the film is released and it didn't do very well at the box office, then people say, oh, so they'll make up something. Just to, as I said, we look back and we try to make sense of everything. But then, like right now, people say, oh, you have done this, or the nuances are in place and the body language is there. But we are supposed to do that. And my director is very clear. I remember third or the fourth day when we were shooting, and in the film where he asked me that, okay, somehow show me that this time you're thinking about what I'm doing.
It's digital, you can swear.
Yeah, what the fuck I'm doing. So I was like, but the camera is up and it's not close. Even if I think something, how will I show it to the camera? And he was like, that's your job. That's why I hired you. You are the actor.